Okay, here's a fun one. I started doing stand-up between 3 and 4 years ago. So it hasn't been that long. Still kind of new. Still definitely having fun. Still excited about it. But I started at the Looney Bin, which was a comedy club in Oklahoma City that is no longer there. There's still a Looney Bin in Tulsa that's great. But they had an open mic. It's 4 minutes, and I got super duper prepared, and I practiced everything I was going to say, and I was like, I'm going to say it like this, and I'm going to say it like this, and whatever. Got up there, did it. It went pretty good, actually. But I guess because that's what you're supposed to do, I thought that was the way you do it. And then after like a couple open mics, I'm like, okay, so I'm driving an hour and a half. I'm doing 4 minutes. I'm waiting an hour. Then I'm watching the rest of the show and drinking a coffee. Then I'm headed back home. So I'm gone, I don't know, 5.5, 6 hours to perform for 4 minutes. That just didn't seem very good to me. That being said, it was the thing I had at the time. It was the only option that I could think of at the time. Like, I didn't know how else you get a crowd. And they always had a crowd. Like, that was the coolest thing about the Looney Bin, is they always had people there because they would have, their open mic was part of their weekend show. So their headliner for the weekend would perform headline on Wednesday night, and we would basically be their opener, which for me was really fucking cool. But I did that, and I had to work somewhat clean. It wasn't clean. They just had like rules, like you couldn't say certain words, you couldn't describe certain acts and stuff. And I think that was actually really good. But there were so many limitations to it. And I was like, okay, I got to try something else. So I went to another one, and it was called, I think it was called New Shit. It was Matt Rainey's podcast, or open mic at the time, at a place in Oklahoma City called the Ugly Flamingo or something like that, I think. Anyway, I would go there, and I tried some stuff, and it didn't work. And I didn't like smelling like smoke, and I was like, this is fucking uncomfortable, and I don't know how to perform for a group of just comedians. Like, there was just nobody in the room that wasn't a comic. And then the place is divided into 2 rooms. I would get a laugh from the pool tables on the other side of the room, like on the other side of the wall in a different room. Like, people would laugh at my jokes from over there, but it was just a bunch of other comics in the room, and they're like, this isn't funny at all. Like, I started just to eat shit, which sometimes you need that. But I was like, I'm not going to say it doesn't count at all, but it didn't seem like I was getting anywhere doing that. And I'm real close with another comic named Matt Farrell, if you don't already know. We're buddies. We live in the same town. We've tried doing a podcast together. Technically, that still exists. It's just hard scheduling issues. It's my fault. We do shows together. But I asked him how he got started, and he was like, oh, well, I watched stand-up on TV, and I saw they do 45 minutes to an hour. So I wrote out 45 minutes to an hour of material, and then I saw they just do it in theaters, so I rented a theater. And I was like, holy shit, dude. This guy he didn't go, how do other people do it? He goes, what have I seen done? And then he went from 0 to 100. His first show, no open mics before, his first show was a theater where he sold over 200 tickets, and he had never done stand-up before. And I think the two things colliding, we plan a lot of stuff together now, and I think it helps because everything in my whole life, I've always done more that way. More well, I see what they're doing, I'll do it. I used to paint cars when I was fucking 14 years old. I was painting people's cars. They didn't know I was 14. They would give me the key to their fucking car and let me paint it. And I was a child. I was a little kid. I won a Best Paint Award on a paint job on a Subaru Impreza STI that I did when I was 15 years old. And the guy found out like, no, not 20, 15-ish years later that I was a child. He thought I was in my early 20s when I did it. He thought I was young, but he didn't think I was an actual child. But the point is, I used to always just go, okay, this is what I want to do. These are the few examples I've seen of it being done at the highest level. I will try to do that. So I had a paint shop when I was a teenager, like a legit business with a paint booth that I made inside it, and I painted cars and motorcycles. I'm a fucking crazy person. I've never been hey, what's the right way to do it? guy. I'm the what is the way that will work guy. But on comedy, I was like, I want to do this the right way. For the first time in my life, I'm going to do something the way you're supposed to, go through all the steps. It took 8 months of doing stand-up that way before, well, less than 8 months, but 8 months before I did it. I came up with the idea about 6 months after I started doing comedy that I should just have my own open mic, because then I get stage time. I can invite a bunch of people. We can do it for free. I kind of mimicked the way that Comedy Crunch in Dublin did it. A guy named Danny O'Brien was hosting when I was in Dublin, and I think he's kind of responsible for it. And it was just an amazing show, dude. It was so good. And they gave people free ice cream. It was free in the bottom, like in the basement of a place called the Stag's Head. And it was fucking cool. So I was like, okay, most places charge. Let's do free. Which, by the way, open mics, most places don't charge. I was just going by what people do for shows. So most places charge. We're going to do free. They did free. Most places don't give you anything. They make you buy stuff. So we're going to give people pizza. And it worked. So I started an open mic at my old tattoo shop called 32 Tattoo, which I just didn't want to think of a name, and the address was 2132. Everybody thinks I have like an obsession with the number 32. I kind of do now. But just because of that, I just couldn't think of a name, and 32 Tattoo, it didn't matter. It was a private studio. The point is, I did what I could with what I had, and I started an open mic. But when I say open mic, I invited a bunch of my friends, and I said, hey, sign-ups are in person. Please come. And I got a bunch of yeses online. I was like, okay, you know what? I've actually signed up enough people online. No more in-person sign-ups. This is the lineup. So it basically became a showcase. I think we all did I did 5, and I think everybody else did 5 to 10 minutes or something like that. And it was a bunch of good comics. Some I still work with all the time. Pat Ferris was on that. It was very fun. But it was basically everybody that I knew that I could invite, I invited. And we got a bunch of really funny people there. And then I did it again maybe a month later. And I had a lineup. So I called it an open mic, I think, for the first 2 or 3. And then I just started calling it comedy night. And we just called it Comedy at 32. And then it evolved to where it was starting to get pretty good. And then I started doing shows outside of there. And one time we had a show planned that a bunch of people had said they were going to be there. And the air conditioner went out, so we did that outside. And we bought a bunch of alcoholic beverages and had an ice chest where if anybody wanted one, they could have one as long as they were my friend. So everybody became my friend that day. The whole thing is I don't know what the law on that is. So it's like, hey, are you 21? You can have one. Probably shouldn't have done that. But it helped make it a little better, because the thing is you got a bunch of fucking people outside it was hot, but it was hotter inside, or at least there wasn't enough airflow inside, so we did it outside, and it was fun. The show turned out fine. And then when it became time to kind of downsize from 2 shops to 1, because I had to let some people go, and I didn't want to hire more people, what I ended up doing was remodeling my other shop, Avenue, and if I'm going to remodel anyway, might as well make it where it fits for comedy, and now it is like a perfect little tiny comedy club in my lobby, and it's super fun. But open mics weren't doing it for me. And I still do open mics. I think they still have a great value. Like, I'm doing a couple open mics tomorrow. But open mics alone wasn't doing it for me. I needed more. And so I just created my own thing. So Matt, his whole career in comedy has been just making his own thing. Me, I tried to go the other way, and it didn't work for me because that's just not who I am or how I do things. So it works either way. Like, you can do whatever you want. But let's say you're taking all the conventional routes right now, and you feel like you're stuck. You've been doing it for 5 years. Nothing's growing. You have a really good, tight, perfect 5. You have a tight, perfect 10. You have a tight, perfect 15. You can kind of do 20. Well, there's people that their first show was 45 minutes, and they sold 200 tickets because they did it a different way. And there's people that don't always do well, but grow and get better. If you look at their best performance from every single month, they just keep having a better best every single fucking month. And I think it's because they're not listening to anybody on, this is what you're supposed to do. Don't do this, do this. I think any of the rules in comedy are fucking crazy. I think the idea that I should go do stand-up, and if I have an example of last week, I had a guy play guitar while I did jokes about just penis jokes. Only penis jokes. That was my whole set. And I had a guy play guitar, and it made it 10 times better. And it changed my pacing. It was fun. But if you want to say, like, having a guitar player on stage with you is crazy, or a hack, or whatever, that's fine. Say that. But if I'm getting more laughs than you, fuck you. And then if it doesn't work, who cares? We tried something. We had fun. Did we have fun? Okay. You have to try things. You have to be willing to fail and willing to look stupid and try shit. And I don't know why that's not talked about more. Like, if you want to do something original, you can't follow all the same conventional pathways to do it. You kind of have to just do it. And if you think that there should be a bunch of rules in how comedy goes, you're not thinking like a creative person. Like, it's the same in tattooing and almost any other art form. There's all these rules. Maybe learn the rules out of respect and because they're there for a reason, and then learn to break them. But sometimes people just fucking do 45 minutes in a theater for 200 people instead of an open mic for 10. And it's off to the races. Like, that being said, it's hard to top that. It's going to take a while to get where you have 200 every time. But, I mean, I created a thing because it wasn't working the way I was doing it, and I've gotten a lot better because of it, and I'm still growing, and I hope I still grow for a long time because of it. And I know several people that did not take the conventional route. I've heard stories about Dave Chappelle just fucking bringing like I think he brought a speaker and a microphone into like Central Park or something crazy. And probably not Central Park because I think he's from, I want to say he's from like DC. Anyway, the point is, in a public area, just going, I'm just going to do my jokes in front of people. That way I can see if they work. See if people like these jokes. Let people hear my name. He was a little teenager running around fucking doing crazy good shows because he didn't just ask for permission. He just started doing shit. He might have asked for permission, didn't get permission, and then did it a different way. I don't fucking know. But you can still do the open mic, follow all the rules, do your time, do the 4 minutes, go to the next one, and produce your own show. And do something weird. Like, there's this guy named Zane in Tulsa that does a thing called Comedy on the Corner, where he just goes out there with a fucking speaker and just does bits for people walking by. It's weird as shit, but it's a good way to practice, and it's interesting, and it's probably really fun to watch, and I hope he puts it out on YouTube because it'd be very cool to watch. But there's all these people doing different routes that you can call them fucking crazy, or you can say, oh, they're not doing it the right way, they're breaking all the rules. Or you can quit being a little bitch and realize you're just talking to yourself because you don't have the balls to do what they're doing. You're just angry at yourself because you're not willing to take that risk that the crazy guy on the corner with the fucking microphone that knows everybody thinks he's crazy, but he goes, hey, how am I going to get good at this? How am I going to get people to know that I am good at this? How am I going to make something new? How am I going to pave a new path? Like, people got mad. They get mad at change. They got mad at Bob Dylan for going electric. Like, think of how stupid that sounds now. You go, Bob Dylan started playing electric guitar and people were outraged because that's not what he is supposed to do. People put him in a box. Not a box of comedy, but comedy's in a box. Tattooing's in a box. Bob Dylan was in a box. Fucking get out of the box and go eat some box. Okay, I think that's enough of me ranting. I'll see you next time.